The cargo bay was a mess of half-sorted relics, broken tech, and crates tagged in dozens of alien dialects. I wiped the sweat off my brow and cursed softly under my breath. Salvaging from derelict vessels on the edge of the Orion dead zone was rarely neat work. But that's when I first saw her, curled up in the back of an old stasis pod, unconscious but breathing. Life. She didn't look like anything I'd seen before. Pale skin tinged with iridescent blue, veins glowing faintly under the surface. Her long white hair floated in zero-G, and small crystalline structures decorated her collarbones like living jewelry. Her ears were slender and pointed, twitching occasionally even in sleep. A stasis readout labeled her as Zerali class. Asset 3. I should have reported her. That's what protocol said. But after years of drifting from one backwater system to another, I'd stopped caring about rules. I brought her aboard the Rust Bucket, my ship, and let the AI stabilize her vitals. It was 2 days before she stirred. She blinked slowly, her large lavender eyes adjusting to the dim light. Then she whispered a single word. "Where am I?" "You're safe," I said, offering her water. "I found your pod in a junked cruiser. No idea how long you were in there." Her gaze never left mine. Then softly, "What are you?" Chuckled. "Human. Name's Carter Rains. Tovage. And you?" She hesitated, voice barely audible. "Valari." Middle. Valari learned quickly. In just a week, she was walking around the ship, mimicking human words, asking questions about everything, from how engines worked to why humans cried when listening to music. There was something graceful about her, like a symphony in motion. But she also moved with warrior discipline, reflexively scanning each room for exits and always keeping her back to a wall. Her memory was fractured. She didn't know how she got in that pod or why she'd been labeled an asset. But she remembered starscapes I couldn't begin to name and rituals involving starlight and floating blossoms. She claimed her people, the Zerali, were attuned to emotional resonance, that they could feel loyalty, betrayal, even sorrow as physical sensations. "They tried to make us weapons," she said one night as we drifted near a red dwarf, the stars flickering beyond the cockpit glass. "But emotions, they burn too brightly in us. We are unstable when broken." I didn't know how to respond to that, so I handed her something small, a music chip. It was an old Earth folk song, Gentle Aching. I'd played it countless times during lonely hyperspace jumps. The voice on it always reminded me of home, of something real in the void. She listened to it in silence, eyes closed. And when it ended, she held the chip tightly between her palms. "Why?" she asked. "Why what? Why give this to me?" Shrugged. "It felt right. Maybe because I think you need something beautiful to hold on to." She stood very still. Then, with unblinking sincerity, she said, "I will stay by your side. Forever." Froze. "Valari, I didn't mean. I mean you don't have to." "I want to," she interrupted softly. "You gave freely. That's rare. Among my kind that means, I am yours." I was speechless. But over the next few weeks, it became clear that she wasn't joking. She slept in the same corridor as my quarters, watched over me during long jumps, protected me when a gang of pirates tried to raid the ship at Station 12, rendering 3 unconscious with nothing but her bare hands and a shard of hull plating. When I told her I didn't own her, she simply smiled. "You don't. But I choose to stay." Turning point. One day, while docked at a fringe market on Cytheron 4, a group of corporate mercs recognized her. They were after Zerali relics and genetic weapons, and Valari matched a profile flagged across black market networks. They cornered us in the alley behind a trade stall. 6 of them, armed. "She's not yours," the lead merc spat. She's classified. If you know what's good for you, you'll hand her over. Valari stepped forward, crystalline structures along her body beginning to glow ominously. But I stopped her. No, I said. I'll deal with this. I raised my hand slowly and took a step forward. You want to take someone who's finally free. Who isn't hurting anyone. She's a time bomb, the merc growled. One burst of emotion and she could level a city. I stared them down. Then you better hope she never has a reason to feel pain. Valari stood silently behind me, trembling. I could feel the power radiating off her skin like static electricity. The mercs didn't move. For a long moment no one did. Then I did something stupid. I tossed them a crate from our last salvage haul, worth a small fortune in illegal tech. You didn't see us. Deal. Their eyes widened. Greed triumphed over duty. One of them grabbed the crate, nodded, and they vanished into the crowd. Back aboard the ship, Valari didn't speak for hours. Later that night, she approached me in the cockpit and placed a tiny glowing object in my hand. It looked like a shard of crystal, but pulsed like it had a heartbeat. This, she said, is part of my soul casing. When Zerali bond, they offer this. I swallowed. Valari, are you sure? I'm just a guy with a second-hand ship and no future. She leaned closer, placing her forehead gently against mine. You gave a gift from your heart. I returned it with mine. That is how my people show truth. And for the first time I understood. She wasn't bound to me by obligation. She was bound by choice. Ending. Years passed. Valari never left my side. Together we made a name for ourselves. Not as salvagers but protectors. She helped other escaped Zerali find refuge. I became her voice when others feared her. She became my shield when danger struck. Our ship got an upgrade. So did our purpose. We weren't drifting anymore. We had a mission. And though we never said the words marriage or forever in a formal sense, every night we sat under the stars, just the two of us listening to that old Earth song, I knew what we had was deeper than any vow. One evening, docked on a floating observatory in the Vantari ring, I placed a small gift box in her hands. She opened it. Inside was a crystal locket, made from the same soul casing she gave me long ago. Inside I had embedded the music chip she loved. She looked at me, eyes wide. You remembered. He nodded. You said that gift bound you to me. I figured it was time I gave you something to bind me to you. She clutched the locket to her chest. And then, glowing faintly like the stars above, she whispered, "Then I will stay by your side, forever."